Yo, what's going on, guys? So I want to do a channel update at some point in like the near future, but I just want to add this in here real quick. Basically, a nigga just been going through it. I'm not gonna lie. Shit's just kind of bleh. But I'm trying. I just don't want this to affect this channel. I hope to at least have a video a week, if that. So that's something I want to have as a standard going forward. I'm sorry that it's kind of been, it's been like a good like 2-3 weeks since I've put shit on here, and I just have a lot of other shit I need to do. Like I'm about to be in college. It's like, oh my fucking, that's so fucking crazy to me. And there's so much other shit I gotta worry about. I also want to put energy into my own channel and just making sure that I can do this shit right, because I overthink a lot. And another thing I wanted to add is that this is not my final vision for how I want this overall podcast type series to go on the channel, because there's just format and things of that nature that I want implemented that aren't here yet. So just thank you for still fucking with this, and JoyConBoyz forever. I hope you enjoy today's episode, and I'll see you guys real soon. Laters.
Unrecognizable to your former self, doing things that you never thought you would do. It's insidious how it seeps into your subconscious. You can feel like you have no one else, and that suicide is your only option because you feel unredeemable, irredeemable, whatever, that you cannot make good on your past mistakes, and that is the farthest thing from the truth.
What's going on, guys? G-Toss from the JoyConBoyz World Network here, and today we got a dope guest, Mr. Triforce Johnson. Just, say hi real quick.
What's going on, guys?
So, he was chill enough to, grant me some of his time. So today we're just going to be able to, get some insight, talk with him real quick. So, cool shit. Alright, so, first question to kickstart this discussion, and I just want to say, everybody real quick, super having a weird ass day, so my fault for all the jitterness and stuff, so, and if you will excuse me as well. Okay, so first community question is, maybe, ask them what got, okay, so, what got you into, Desmond? Did you meet him first in person, or was it more of, an internet thing that got you guys to click up?
Actually, I didn't know anything about Etika until C&D. The gentleman that I helped launch the Nintendo Switch line with, Captain Nintendo dude, he was the one who actually introduced me to Etika and actually gave me Etika's extensive history when they used to call him Iceman Etika. Prior to that, I honestly didn't know about who Etika was or whatnot. Apparently, Etika knew who I was, though, because C&D had told me that. And then when I finally met Etika for the first time, he knew who he was. Hey, Triforce, I know who you are. But that's due to the Smash Brothers community, because he's into Smash Brothers, and Deadly Alliance, which is a Smash Brothers esports group, is a part of our organization. So Deadly Alliance actually plays Smash Brothers for Empire Arcadia. And those guys, they know Desmond, West, Dyer, and the rest of the guys. They actually know him. And through their association, that's how Desmond found out about me and so forth. So that's pretty much how I came into contact with Etika, literally through C&D. And my first time ever meeting him was at the Nintendo Switch line, which C&D and myself both documented on YouTube.
Yo, that's just, I heard about the line. I mean, obviously, I wasn't there, but I heard about, like, the whole thing with, like, Delhi 48 and just, the whole shenanigans around the time. So, I was trying to say, that's stupid. So, sorry y'all had to go through that.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that one. I get it, too. So, yeah. But, yeah, okay, so, okay. Let me... Oh, you said what?
I said we got past that part.
Yeah,
Continue.
for sure. So, for the next question, how did he positively impact your life from any point in you guys' relationship?
It's a tough question because it's such a broad question. My age versus his age I would have to actually take the time to think about it because
Yo, it's perfectly
when you
fine.
say no, it's okay. I want to answer the question. It's a fair question to ask, and I apologize for the noise. I live in a commercial area, so some of these guys outside with their bikes and their cars, they make a lot of noise. But Etika's impact on my life is positively is direct. It's a direct impact on my life. It isn't a subtle one, or it's not something that's like, I sat down with Etika and I knew him for a very long time and he shaped the way I am. His positivity comes from his community um, supporting my YouTube channel. So it's more, I guess, social and professional than it is personal. I'm like, I guess we'll start with the social and the professional one. The everyone knows about the evisceration video, and when he allowed me the opportunity to use his platform to pretty much address an individual who was trying to make my life very difficult for no reason. Um, that allowed that opened up my platform to his audience. His audience found out who I was. My channel, when I first met Etika, was only like 4,000 and change followers. And I did meet CND before. CND got me over like the 12, 13,000 threshold. After the evisceration video, my channel jumped all the way up to 37,000. Since that time, it's down to 28 grand now. So as you can see, but that's a whole other story. So he, in fact, that's how he positively affected me socially and professionally. On a personal level, um, I I got a chance to speak to somebody who appreciates, the culture of Africans in the West. From wanting to go to Ghana, as we all know, his father is in on the continent. To me, inviting him down to Jamaica to pretty much get away. There was a bunch of things that we spoke about personally, and I realized that a lot of Africans in America aren't necessarily in tune with their history or their culture. They have we have an idea, but the way Western culture is structured for the African in America, it detaches you from it. The longer you're in the West, depending on your mental acumen, determines how far you become detached from it.
No, I
You know,
completely
they are
agree. For me,
they're like,
growing up, I'm my father is Jamaican on his side, and I've just had such a large partially because he wasn't really in my life, but in general, I've had such a disconnect from my heritage and my culture,
there you
and
go.
to be honest with you, I have like no like resemblance to it whatsoever besides my skin color and some mannerisms
That's
I may have.
what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. In terms of like we have an ideal because of our skin color, but we are not entrenched into it. And the culture, the American culture, detaches us further away from it. It literally goes against African culture, literally, because Africans are colonized as a people. We're conquered people um, outside of the continent, and even to some degree on the continent. So when I saw that about him, it reminded me of how young I was and how I wanted to get to know more about uh, my heritage and my culture. So it gave me an opportunity to share those moments with him. Like, have you ever left the country? Have you ever gone back to go visit your father in Africa? Have you ever gone to the Caribbean and anything like that? And he was like, nope. And I'm like, do you ever wish to? And he's like, yeah. But he had such aspirations for what he was doing as a brand and his goals with like for the JoyConBoyz. He had like an actual goal set out for the JoyConBoyz, and um, that kind of made him like realize that at some point in time in his life he would need to go out and go seek out his culture, so to speak. So I had invited him to come down to Jamaica. Um, the funny thing here, because I don't want anyone getting a misinterpretation, but you have to take into consideration this is me just first meeting Etika. I didn't know Etika had a girlfriend. So one of my girls who is a friend, not my, first of all, I don't have girlfriends. It's either you're a girl who's my friend or you're my wife. I don't do that in between stuff. That's me personally. No offense to anyone who does that, which the larger majority of the world does it. And no offense, it's just letting everyone know how I see things. So one of my girls who was a friend um, was wondering when I was going to come back to Jamaica because I was supposed to go back there after the switch line, and I end up not going there. I end up staying in America a little bit longer than I needed to, and that's how Desmond opened his home to me. That's how I end up staying with him for a while. And I told her I was at Etika's house, and she knew who Etika was, which was crazy because I'm like, this girl is younger than me. Well, how could she know Etika? She lives in Jamaica. But then I thought about it. That's it. She's younger than me. So the younger generation would know of Etika, and that's why I wouldn't know of Etika. So she was like, "You at Etika's house?" I'm like, "Yeah, show me proof." So Etika's on the stream, and I go in on my phone, and I'm showing him, and she's like, "Oh, wow, blah, 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 blah." And obviously, starstruck, she likes Etika, whatever. When Etika was done with the stream, and I'm like, "Yo, you need to come to Jamaica. The fresh water, clean air, great food, great women." Not to say that America doesn't have any women. The reason why I had to preface this because I don't want anyone thinking that I was trying to get Etika to cheat on his girlfriend at the time. I don't even know if they were even together at the time, whatever the status was. But I learned later on afterwards that he actually had a girlfriend. I just don't know at the time when I invited him to come to Jamaica if he was with the girl or not. So I introduced him to the girl, and he was like, "Oh, word, blah blah blah," and he's like, "Yo, I dig it. I want to come down to Jamaica, whatever." And that's when I said I should form the N team. So I didn't want just Etika to come. I wanted Abdallah to come. I wanted C&D to come. I wanted Nintendo Cade, Danny, and Evelyn to come. I literally want like a few of the people that were at the Nintendo Switch line to actually come down to Jamaica. We had some ideas like we wanted to come down and do a charity, which unfortunately they didn't get to come down and do it, but we end up doing it anyway, and so forth. I just utilized Empress Nile and the Valkyries, and we just end up doing it instead. But what he made me realize that the positivity that it brought in my life is that I actually was trying to help somebody understand their culture. I can't necessarily say anyone was in my life to do that for me, the way I was trying to do it for Etika, but it made me feel good that I had that opportunity that I could even offer it to him. Unfortunately, as you know from the Reddits and whatever, people are telling him, "Don't go with Triforce to Jamaica. Don't work with Triforce. He's a scumbag. I have a G5. I'm scamming people out of money so I can fuel it, so I can fly wherever I go. Like the Valkyries are prostitutes, and I sell them to people, and I make money, and I live this lavish life in a mansion or all this other dumb."
Yeah, I
Reddit's
don't
a
think
stupid
no,
place.
you shouldn't just come to conclusions like that without because okay, regardless, none of us really know people past the surface level to begin with. But for you to just
Exactly.
drag somebody's name for somebody you don't even know, maybe you just dislike them. That's just not the way to go about shit. I know that's like a completely different talking point, but I'm sorry you had to go through that shit. Just
No, that's trust me, you don't have to feel. Long before Etika, my name has been dragged in the mud for. I met Etika in 2017, right? So my name's been dragged in the mud from 2020, no, 2002.
and you don't even get your accolades. Oh, real quick because he had broke some shit down for me. If for those of y'all who don't know, he actually helped save Evil. It was 2013, right? I just want to make sure I add this
Oh,
in
for
here.
the melee thing,
Melee.
yeah.
Yeah, so
2013.
he's just done a lot of shit. So for those of I doubt there's many. There may be, but for those of oh my god, people who are watching this currently from the community, if you have any indifferent opinions on Mr. Tri, just do your research. I implore you to do your research. Okay, I just
Due
want to.
diligence is a very important thing, but
Yes.
we live in a society in an age where the attention span, nobody wants to do the research. People want to be told what to do
Yeah, people don't
and
want to
what
read
to
the book.
believe.
They just want to look at the cover. That's just not the.
The people want an instant narrative. That's it. They're not interested in the context. They don't care. And that's because people's attention span has been shortened. And that's the most I'll say about that, because if I get into anything
Yeah,
else,
that's a whole different.
people start saying I wear a tin hat. And
Okay, you want to move on to the next question because that.
please,
Yeah,
thank you.
thank you for this. Okay. So another community question we have here is, how do you think the community? This is low key a big one. If you want to delve into this, how do you think the community can bring the legacy of Etika back into like the wider consciousness? And by this, I'm assuming they mean like mainstream media, not even just that, because Etika was niche to begin with, but more of like a more prominent, ideal or.
Wait a minute. You talking about gaming or the JoyConBoyz community?
Well, I guess mainly the JoyConBoyz community, but sort of both.
Oh. Honestly, you want my honest opinion?
Yeah, honestly, yes.
I'm going to choose my words carefully because I don't want anyone to misconstrue my words.
Yo, take all the time you need. It's like a.
The JoyConBoyz is an incomplete project by Etika. The goals, the ideals, the intent that he had in mind for the JoyConBoyz cannot be done by the JoyConBoyz. I'll explain in a minute why. You have to understand that the JoyConBoyz was I don't want to use the word accident, but it was a spontaneous moment that just took place based on him with the fake mock-up of the Switch. And it just, boom. So the JoyConBoyz are supposed to represent, and I apologize for that squeaking noise in the background. I'm gonna let this guy pass by with his.
Is that like a truck or something?
Somebody's car. I don't know what the hell that is, but the JoyConBoyz was a spontaneous moment in the Nintendo community, which its entire makeup is based on the Nintendo Switch, the Switch line, the Switch culture. Then it boosted itself in social media, where Etika wanted to use Twitch as a platform to kind of push the Nintendo community. When you think about the JoyConBoyz, it's a part of the Nintendo community. All the people who identified with it when JoyConBoyz came out, especially like with the We the Boys, they're just Nintendo gamers. And what Etika was trying to do in tandem with C&D, because a lot of people, and C&D doesn't get a lot of credit for this, but I'll put it out there for him. But the JoyConBoyz is partly responsible for because of C&D. Some people are gonna like Triforce, you're crazy. Where did that come from? How? You have to take into consideration everything that happened. The Nintendo Switch line was such an important part of the JoyConBoyz physical assembly. Not an online, not a mental, or not an imaginary, physical. Etika coming there on the Switch line with the JoyConBoyz was being endorsed with C&D on the line, along with Gabe, along with Irvin, and the entire N team that's there. This includes me, whether I wanted to endorse it or not. There are pictures with me and Etika and C&D and all these guys there, and Etika's repping the JoyConBoyz, and we're all pointing it. We're all endorsing it. So this spontaneous moment that just blew up for just Etika just saying, you know, JoyConBoyz, we in here, and then you have all of these other people that's a part of this big moment in Nintendo history, which is the Nintendo Switch line, endorsing it. It started to meld the nucleus together of the community. Then even after the Nintendo Switch line, the 1 year and the 1 year anniversary of the Nintendo Switch line, the JoyConBoyz was at the 1 year anniversary with C&D. Etika came over, so they were like, it's a tandem. They were endorsing it themselves. I try not to like throw myself in certain things. I was there, so I was endorsing it as well. But like, you have to think about the Nintendo Switch line. When you think about the Nintendo Switch line, and you think about who were the three most influential people at that line, it's undoubtedly C&D, Etika, and myself. And when you talk about the stories of the Nintendo Switch line, the evisceration one, and all these things that crap, even when we all purchased our Switch, what did we do? We all went to Etika's house. There's a video from C&D. It's all even on Etika's channel if anyone still have it. If not, we still have it. Like I have it.
The unboxing,
it's uploaded,
right?
When we did the unboxing. So you have C&D, you have myself, you have Urban, you have Gabe, you have Etika. That, in a sense, that's your JoyConBoy council, so to speak. If you want to, I'm just trying to get an idea to kind of wrap my head around the entire concept of it. And Etika would be the president, so to speak, and we would be the House, the Senate, whatever you want to call it. But like, we were the people that were supporting Etika in that. And then from that, you have the community that's built around it online, virtually. And Etika started spearheading. Well, he always spearheaded, to be honest with you, but he really started to push it out into the ethos, because every stream he did, he labeled the JoyConBoyz with it. Like I said, even I made videos. There's a time when I was in Etika's house and we was doing something. I did a small little promo. I'll even send it to you so you can put it in the description for people to see. And it's like, it's the JoyConBoyz, we the boys, from Wiz Khalifa and whatnot. So everybody's a part of this JoyConBoy brand. Unfortunately, in Etika's passing, in order for the JoyConBoyz to be able to push his legacy, it requires something physically to be done. And unfortunately, not enough is physically done to represent the aspirations, the intentions, or the goals that Etika had using the JoyConBoy name outside of the mural. And when you really look at it, all we are doing is mourning his death over and over. We're not celebrating his life. We're not celebrating what Etika was trying to do with the JoyConBoyz. We're simply just mourning his passing year after year. Let me give you some examples. He's from a homeless shelter, and he started doing YouTube. And he came out of the homeless shelter as Iceman, transformed to Etika. You mean all the JoyConBoyz and all the people that's spending all this money and all this effort and time into mourning his death? Nobody puts together some type of... JoyConBoyz could create a stream playing video games, playing Sengan Kura, and donations gathered up from it goes to the homeless shelter in New York City where Etika came from to help the unfortunate children there or whatever. See, this is celebrating Etika. JoyConBoyz could be uploading content, waifu girls, jiggly physics, and all that other juvenile foolishness, but it's now under entertainment, and I understand that because every place, everything has a time and a place for it, and Etika was about that foolishness, right? But that's what it is, because you have the younger set of people that are into that or whatever the case may be. to girls. Etika wanting to travel. He started traveling with C&D. He wanted to come to Jamaica before going to Africa. So JoyConBoyz, in order for it to be spread to honor Etika's name, it will require the JoyConBoyz community to get up and actually do something, and not just make videos that talk about Etika, which is why they're only getting views, because Etika is a subject. And some people are going to take that, oh, so Triforce, what are you trying to say? I said exactly what I said. Like, you guys ain't doing anything. You're just using Etika's name. People will accuse me of that, which is why I tried not to make any videos about Etika, because I knew people would accuse me of that. And, you know, but people would attack him. And the only time I would make a video about Etika is to come to his defense. And outside of that, I just leave it alone. I don't talk about this. In fact, you're going to have some guy who's going to watch this video and like, hey, look, you're using Etika's name now in this interview, but you're the one who asked me for the interview. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, because, I came to Mr. Triforce about it. He didn't go out of his way to, and to be honest with you, I'm not even sure he's done any content, like, specifically talking about Etika with, like, that being the thumbnail, that being the title, that being the entirety of it. No. Like, he's been working, from my understanding, you've been working with the Valkyries, correct?
Well, yeah, the thing about the Valkyries is that there's a topic between me and Etika. It's not just me and Etika. Me, Etika, me, Evil Jagan, me, Stated Average, and a bunch of other people. And I'm going to post this, going to give you guys a little gem between me and Etika. Real waifus or 2D waifus? That is an argument in the anime community amongst normal people. I'm just going to say incels and so forth. And I need to put this out there because it just has to be a definitive stance. Etika loves his 2D waifus, but he's all about his real waifus. So don't get this shit twisted, right? Etika is about real titties and ass.
Yeah, I know he fuck with Corn, but like, I'm pretty sure you before like a real life Corn.
I'm not. Let's not do that. The whole like porn thing, because
I don't want that, y'all.
I don't want people to think that he was some type of deviant pervert who focused on porn. Most men watch porn. Most men, not all, right? And although he may like it, like most men, or whatever, or hentai, or whatever it is, if he had a choice between having sex with his girlfriend or watching hentai, Etika will probably do both at the same time. But you get the point. But he's gonna pick the real. So for Etika, he was all about. And I don't want to try to be explicit because a lot of people watching, but you have to remember Etika was an explicit person. And so Etika's about his bitches, so to speak. So knowing that, there's some wow. This question that you brought up literally goes back to your last question. What type of positive things that Etika's brought to me? Well, I will say this. Etika's his liking for 2D and 3D waifus has changed the way I looked at the Valkyries and how I try to facilitate things for the Valkyries, for them to kind of, in a sense, take some of the influence that Etika did, because he influenced me on those things, and apply them to the Valkyries. Because they're real waifus that we've, in many thumbnails, we've animated to 2D waifus to show that, like, the waifus that you see on anime with the ginormous boobies and the jiggly butts, like, that's real, you know. And you don't have to get them, you don't have to go to a plastic surgeon to get them. Down here in Jamaica, that's all natural. Anyone who watches the Valkyries, they'll be like, damn. And it's like, so that's the point. So Etika has a huge influence on me on that. And I try to advise the Valkyries on it. And they kind of take into some things about it. Unknown fact. At one time, we wanted to create booty shorts for the beach and crop top shirts that said JoyConBoyz for the Valkyries to wear. Like literally go into the water and get wet, and you'd see JoyConBoyz. But when we saw the stuff that happened with the Joy-Con controllers, we were like, you know, we're gonna stay away from this.
No, the way Nintendo comes to niggas' heads when they have like anything pertaining to they just shut that shit down. So honestly,
the thing here is like, okay, so well, Nintendo would have shut down if we had did that. I'll tell you that much, because it's the way you go about doing it. Nintendo doesn't. I can speak for the old Nintendo. Let me say that first. Let me start off with that first. I can speak for the I will go out of my way and say I can speak for the old Nintendo when Reggie was involved versus the new Nintendo. I cannot speak for the new Nintendo, right? But the gentleman who created the Joy-Con controllers to sell, where he messed up was he did not, it wasn't a one and off done thing. Like, I'm making 10 Joy-Cons, Etika Joy-Cons, right? And I'm selling each of them. We're going to put bids on them, auctions. And then the money goes to a charity organization to feed the homeless. What's the name of this thing? People in foster shelters and things of that nature. Then it would have been 10. It would have been one and off thing. And chances are, Nintendo would have just said, is that all you're doing? Yeah. Get it done and that's it. The problem here was Nintendo has to protect their brand. They have their own Joy-Cons. They're literally called Joy-Cons. To allow that to go out there unchecked on the market like that could compete with their brand. It'd be a conflict of interest. So if Nintendo co-signs it and does not put a cease and desist, Nintendo is literally giving the thumbs up to a potential controller. You have to understand the power of Etika. People will just start buying Etika Joy-Cons than regular Joy-Cons. Nintendo's a company. No. What Nintendo did was the right thing to do. People are going to be like, oh, Triforce, I can't believe you said. They're a business. You're a community. What are you doing?
No, from like a business standpoint and not a moral one, it does make sense for them.
No, from a moral standpoint as well. I'll explain to you why. Your community does not exist without Nintendo. You are because of Nintendo. JoyConBoyz exist because of Nintendo. That's not an opinion. You wouldn't be called the JoyConBoyz if Nintendo did not name it Joy-Cons for the Switch. You came from Nintendo. Period. You all play Nintendo games. You're from Nintendo. Nintendo needs to protect their community. They need to protect the ethos, the essence, the brand name, all of that. They gotta protect that. This morally, what they're doing is the right thing to do. It is immoral to try to take from Nintendo, rebrand it, because that's what's being done. It's being rebranded. You're taking the Joy-Cons from Nintendo, rebranding it as JoyConBoyz Joy-Cons, and then selling. Think about what I've just said. Let's be fair and objective. Think about what I just said. That's crazy. You cannot do that. That is immoral. That's unethical on top of it. And it's also illegal. So forget about the morality and forget about the ethics. This shit is illegal, period. So Nintendo cannot co-sign that. They gotta be like, whoa, what are you doing? The reason why I said if I did the JoyConBoyz booty shorts and thing is because I'd probably make 2 or 3 of them. The girls would go on the beach. They'd play Just Dance and shake their booties and give the jiggle physics. And that's it. I'm not going around selling them. I'm not trying to make money off of Nintendo or Etika's name. You see, it's just a community promotional one-off thing. So that's not a conflict of interest to Nintendo. So they would have allowed that to rock. But what was happening down there on the whole Joy-Con, no company. Everyone's looking at Nintendo. Microsoft would have never let that happen. Sony would have never let that happen. No gaming company, no company on earth would have let it happen. None. So this entire thing like, oh man, Nintendo's not like, listen, kids, I'm 45 years old. You don't know what you're talking about. You really don't. The problem Nintendo made was that, well, the reason why the new Nintendo exists versus Reggie's error, Reggie's accessibility to the community was a liability to Nintendo's brand, because Reggie allowed so many things to happen, which he masterfully controlled it, that a lot of the community thought that was the go-ahead on anything. And it's like, no, it's not. I've worked with Reggie for 15 years. There's a lot of things I wanted to do, and I had to be cognitive. I had to be aware of what I will do and how it will affect Nintendo as a brand. So some things personally deep down I really wanted to do because I felt it would be fun, it would be great for the community, and yada, yada, yada. I had to take into consideration, how does this affect Nintendo as a business? Is this plausible? Is this something Nintendo will sign off on? Yes or no? What was done with the Joy-Cons was nothing was taken into consideration. No one contacted Nintendo. No one went through the proper chains of communication. I don't want to hear, oh, well, I didn't know who to contact from Nintendo. You could have contacted C&D. You could contact Player Essence. Contact Abdallah. You know, there's a lot of big Nintendo ambassadors out there. You can get in contact with Nintendo. I don't want to hear you couldn't. Could have contacted me. I still have contacts with Nintendo even though Reggie retired. So that's no excuse. There's really no excuse. If you really wanted to do this the right way, you'd make a way. Now, some people think I'm attacking the gentleman who tried to build a Joy-Con controllers. I don't know this guy from a hole in the wall. I'm just looking at it objectively. You can't do it that way. It's the same thing with the Smash Brothers Melee 2013 incident. The reason why Evo got hit with a cease and desist is because they did not go through the proper channels. Big old Evo couldn't contact Nintendo. Come on, you get out of my face with that. Nintendo was like, you guys set us up. There's a whole story behind it. You guys can go check out Wes's video about it if you want to leave it in the description.
Yeah, no, I was about to say, I can leave that in the description to make it easier.
And you watch that. I'm telling you right now, Evo did some scumbag nonsense to Nintendo. They could have simply contacted Nintendo and asked them for that. The problem if they did that is that they were scared that Nintendo may ask for revenue share. But that's what you got to go through for that. So they masked we want to bring Melee to the by doing a donate. Like, come on, man, stop. Like, even I was like, that's dirty. That was dirty. And they trapped Nintendo, and I told Reggie, they trapped you. Because if you don't allow the game to go in, then you kind of make Nintendo look bad. And I said, but let it go through. You're dropping a new Smash anyway. I knew the new Smash was coming out. A lot of people didn't know. I kept that to myself. Nobody knew. I knew. In fact, the only time they make the announcement, and I'm not talking about Smash Ultimate. I'm talking about Smash for the Wii U. So I knew it was coming. So as I said, just focus on the new game. Say yes. After that, get into a contract with the Evo company the following year if they want to keep it up after that. But it will save Nintendo's face. Because Nintendo actually called me. Reggie actually called me. And Allison actually called me. And actually spoke to me and asked me for my advice on the matter. Because they were completely oblivious to what happened. And it was like, what's going on? And I told you got set up by Evo. And everyone is like, oh, blah, blah. Like I said, it's all in the video. You guys can watch the video. And you'll find out the entire scenario about it, which is why Otaku contacted me and then Alex Jabali from CEO and got our things on. I was literally on a phone call giving my advice to Nintendo on what the best thing to do. And I just told them, let it rock because you can't win in this PR stunt. I'm like, they set you up. You're kind of done. So just let them go and whatever. And that's why one day after everyone's like, Triforce, contact Nintendo. Nintendo reversed the decision. But then the Smash Brothers community hates me anyway, so they're like, Triforce had nothing to do with it, whatever. Well, Reggie's retired now, so nothing can happen to Reggie, so I can say this now. So I don't care what anybody says. I literally have the text phone calls still in my old Triforce phone and from Golden Harris and Reggie, so no one can tell me anything. But the ideal was, the point is that the JoyConBoyz is the Nintendo community, or a division of it. Like, the Nintendo community is so huge. You have the Splatoon guys, you have the Smash guys, you got the JoyConBoyz guys.
Independent fan bases from content creators too. So
the Zelda guys, the Tetris guys, this and the that, and the what's the name of this thing? The Animal Crossing. It's so huge. So I can't co-sign the creation of the joysticks without going through Nintendo. Let me repeat what I just said. I cannot co-sign the creation or the mass creation of those Joy-Cons without going through Nintendo. What Nintendo did was the right thing to do, and it's the right thing to do, period. They got a company they got to protect. So, going back to the thing with Etika influencing me. Etika influenced me to take some of the JoyConBoy fan service. That's the word I was looking for. The JoyConBoy fan service content and inject it into the Valkyries. I will have to credit Etika on that because that's where that actually comes from. So anybody who watches the Valkyries, you'll notice that they play these fan service games like Prison Princess, Sengoku Kagura. We literally got that game because of Etika. Literally, the pinball version of it, Block Knockers, Gal Gun 2, and a whole bunch of other stupid games, but it's just nothing but fan service, TNA and whatnot. To go with the Valkyries themselves, they like video games and anime, so they're physical, real life image of like anime girls. I'm talking about like real like jiggle physics and whatever. And if anyone's wondering, well, Triforce, you're sexualizing the girls. No, I'm not sexualizing the girls, but like, stop. Like, if you're gonna accuse me of that, then you're accusing Etika and everybody else and every other guy that does it. So just beat it. So he definitely influenced me on that for sure. So just wanted to go back and go back to that point on one of the things he influenced me on.
okay, Pat, thank you. That was okay. That kind of went. I mean, not all over the place, but it touched on different topics. So that was
Before getting back to the point.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry about that.
No,
yeah.
you're fine. You're fine. I enjoyed listening anyway. So this comes from more so me. I'm not sure if anybody else. Like, I have a list, and I'm not sure if anybody else asks this because we don't have all the time to go over each and every one. But I wanted to ask your opinion on something. Do you think that the JoyConBoyz, because in my mind, I feel like it could transcend what's Etika left, not forgetting him in the slightest, but transcend it into having a wider scope of impacts regarding multiple topics regarding his upbringing is like homelessness, mental health to a degree, and just a bunch of different like culminating topics. Do you believe that could be something that pioneer would be the wrong word, but like that could be something that could add on to Etika's legacy and actually create things for not even just the Nintendo community but gaming in general?
If it did, yes, it definitely would add to Etika's legacy. So the real question is, do I think it's possible to happen? And honestly, no. I don't think it's gonna happen. And the reason why is because if it was gonna happen, it would have. Etika's passed away in 2019. We're going on 2023, and outside of the continuous mourning of his death, and people creating content. Using their relationship with him in any means or whatever to simply just get clicks and views, nothing is being done. Period. Nothing is being done.
Do you think, okay, so based on what you just said, do you think that it's just not possible in general, or do you think it's not possible because of the way it's been going and has been? It's
not possible because it needs a figurehead to actually push it. And unfortunately, based on my research, the consensus of the JoyConBoyz community is that there should be no one figure to push it. And I disagree with that because the JoyConBoyz is what it is because of one figure who was pushing it. And the other part of the thing is the rightful heir to the JoyConBoyz quote-unquote throne has a checkered what's the word for this thing here?
History?
I don't want to call it patent. No, history is the wrong word. He's liked and disliked. So 9 is the rightful heir, whether we like it or not. Like, it doesn't make a difference. Today, Queen Elizabeth passed on. Imagine Europe saying, We don't need a king or queen anymore. We are Europe, and we should stop. Like, this is foolishness. And whether we like William or Charles or whoever, they're their family, they're the rightful heir. The way I see it, whether you like him or not, some form of discourse needs to happen, and the JoyConBoy community, those that already support 9 and those that do not support 9, need to have continuous discourse to see how they can make this work.
Okay.
And move forward, because only through that can it happen. If not, it's not going to happen.
So,
and to prove that, nothing's happening.
Okay.
See?
So wait. Okay. I know I've already like kind of in a sense like rephrased this question twice now, but let me ask you this then as a follow up. Do you think that with a collective of figureheads, and if civil discourse was to happen with 9, and we would come to a general consensus and us working together, do you then believe that it could transcend into something more? Yes or no?
Of course. And to prove that, Etika did that at the switch line. One moment. To prove that, Etika did it at the switch line. Etika was a figurehead. You had C&D, you had Irvin, you had Jacob, you had Gabe, you had me. You had a central figurehead, and then you have the sub-figureheads behind him. The issue is whether the JoyConBoy community is willing to do that. When I look at it from a leadership structured and infrastructure, it cannot be done without it. Some people have said, Triforce, why don't you? No. That's just first off, no. I'm already doing my thing with Empire Arcadia and the Valkyries, and I already have elements of Etika inspired that I've injected to it. I'm satisfied with that. One moment.
Oh, yeah, take them.
This is a guy. One second. This is an actual guy who comes from the Etika's actual stream. He's a part of the JoyConBoyz. But one second. Stated, I'm in an interview with the JoyConBoyz. I gotta call you back.
Where's the interview at?
It's happening right now, live. That's why I said I gotta call you back.
Okay, anybody watching?
You are in the interview as it's happening right now. I have to call you back.
Go tell him I said hi.
He can hear you.
Oh, yo, what's up?
Era said hello.
That's not good. Good afternoon. So can nobody watch the interview?
It's being recorded, stated. You're in the interview.
So it's just a video.
Yes.
All right, so I'm back.
All right.
So wait, with that being said, because some people may have this question regarding what you said, I don't want to like derail because I like where your point was going.
Yeah.
Would you be opposed to working with the JoyConBoyz? Which I'm pretty sure I know the answer. I just want it to be said here.
The only way I would be opposed to working with the JoyConBoyz is if A, it has a figurehead, and B, they would ask for me to be some type of mediator or a figurehead or a council to balance the scales of power. Because the infrastructure has to be that way. Some people don't want it that way, but that's how it has to be because that's how it actually was. When Etika was alive, that's what it was. With him gone, it's not that, which is why nothing other than the mourning of his death is going on. There's no figurehead to say, okay, guys, in the spirit of Etika, based on his goals or what he wants to do, based on what Etika did, let's do this. Someone has to say that. Someone has to put in the time, the effort, the resource, find the money, and then the JoyConBoyz community then backs it. You see? But someone has to push, or someone has to put something there, and for the community to surround it, and then empower it, and then push it. But there are people who are saying, no, the community should be able, everyone should be able to represent their own interpretation of what the JoyConBoyz is. But what do you mean your own interpretation? I'm like, there is no own interpretation. The JoyConBoyz, the JoyConBoyz is what it is. I'm like, if you want to have your own interpretation for yourself individually, that's fine. But to try to impose your version of the interpretation, you're just going to have 1,000 cooks in the kitchen. 1,000 chiefs trying to run a nation. It's never going to work because one chief's going to say, well, I disagree with your interpretation. I think my interpretation is the real interpretation. And people will come up with this concept, well, I think we all should accept each other's interpretations. What do you think, this is the perfect world? That's foolishness. No. Like, we don't live in a perfect world. We live in a completely imperfect world, immoral world, wicked and evil world. So that ideology doesn't even work either. So that's why nothing has happened. I'm like, it's the proof's in the pudding. I'm not making this up. Like, I asked a question to the community. What's happened since? I'll wait.
Yeah, that's a fair point to make. I mean, there has been like community events and things of that nature, but something that has really pushed them. Yeah, like give me a second. There have been like, you know, charity streams run by individual people, and as well as, you know, things like mods, like a creation of a mod that actually went viral. That was something outside of like bigger scoped events. I can understand where you're coming from because there hasn't been.
Let me pose this to you. During Etika's life, everything Etika did was larger than life regarding the JoyConBoyz community. So relative to the JoyConBoyz community, not life itself. From all the community content that he has done, he has gotten hundreds of thousands, 500,000, millions of views on his things, the things he has done with the community, the JoyConBoyz, the Nintendo community, whatever. Name me one person in the current JoyConBoyz community that has done an event, an online project that has 500,000 views. Because I don't know any, so please enlighten me.
Okay, well, okay, there's a video that James made covering the mod, and he kind of orchestrated that thing. That
covering what?
The creation of an Etika mod. It's like a it was like an Etika skin on a Captain Falcon character, and it had, you know, voice lines of his. That, I believe, is like the closest thing that can hold a torch to, you know, the things that Etika was, you know, doing.
No, I don't want it to hold a torch to Etika. I just want it to even just have a fraction of it. So
yeah.
How many views?
I can check to be specific, but if I remember correctly, around 213,000.
213,000. So that's the biggest thing that has happened since Etika's passing. That represents his life, because at least it's not the moral death thing or whatever. And I don't want people to take this out of context. So what you trying to say, Triforce, is a problem with the mural that we did? No, it's not what I'm saying. The mural was actually a great thing. I just wish there was more. Look at the effort everyone took to go do that mural. If everyone put the same effort into other things, that answers your question. The JoyConBoyz could do something. But it appears to be outside of that mural and that one Etika skin that got 200,000. That's it. That is not enough to lionize Etika's legacy. It's not enough. More needs to be done. In his name and in his spirit, what are the things that Etika does?
He just falls on. But that encapsulates, that hasn't. Oh yeah, go ahead.
That question I asked, I want to ask. I'm going to go into some dark territory here.
Okay, here we go.
The reason why the Etika, the JoyConBoyz as a movement cannot go into that direction is because the culture of what the JoyConBoyz is based off of Desmond and Pofo. We need to keep in mind that Desmond is African. Someone probably wrote at this timestamp right here, here comes a racist stump from Triforce. You are correct. There's a disconnect in the JoyConBoyz community. because everyone's trying to make it like JoyConBoyz is all these multicultural facets. That's ridiculous. The JoyConBoyz has a culture, and many different ethnic groups from other cultures are in it. It's not the opposite way around. It's not the JoyConBoyz joining everyone else's independent ethnic cultures. They cannot do that. You'll fracture the JoyConBoyz, which is exactly what's happening. The JoyConBoyz has to be a constant. And that constant has to be based on Desmond, or the next closest thing to Desmond, his half-brother. Triforce, why are you so blah, blah, blah with for Ice? Why are you going so hard for 9? I said, Ice, sorry. Because the only way to have a consistent structure is to, you have to go to the next of kin. It's as if someone would ask, well, Triforce, why don't you do it? The only reason why someone would ask me why would I do it is because I know Etika. Or C&D, why don't you do it? Because he knew Etika. In fact, C&D was around Etika more than me. So C&D would actually be ideal for it as well. But people would say, well, 9 has never been around his brother like that. This is actually crazy that people even say that, because it's like, how would you know? Have you lived in Etika's house? Have you spoken with his mother? Do you know the history of 9? There's a picture with 9 and Etika. A person of common sense would say that, like, I have a half brother. His name is Jonathan. We call him Prince J. No one's ever heard of him before. I have a better relationship with my half brother Jonathan than I have with my 2 other direct brothers. But you would never know that. I have 3 brothers. But Triforce, you've never spoken with them before. I'm 44. How much time have I spent with my brothers? I've spent over like 2.5 decades with my brothers. Does anyone know that? No. Well, you never mentioned them. So that because I never mention them in anything that I do in gaming, that means I have no relationship with my brother. This is absolute buffoonery. It's foolishness. It's absolute foolishness. The fact that there's a picture of 9 and Etika standing next to each other, we have to give them the benefit of the doubt that he has more than 5 years total time in his lifetime with Etika. Minimum. That's more than any of us, period, who's not blood. And anyone to go against that is just literally disingenuous, because I'm just being objective about the matter. Do I like how 9 goes about certain things? No. There's a lot of things that I try to contact 9, he doesn't get back in contact with me. I've watched some of his videos. Some things he has said, I'm like, I don't agree with him going about it that way. I understand why he phrased some things that way, because, oh, trust me, the JoyConBoyz community is not innocent. JoyConBoyz community is very toxic, and I understand why he goes in that direction. So this entire spiel I'm talking about is going to be very unpopular, and probably is going to get a lot of people to hate me, but fuck all of you people. I'm the emperor of Arcadia. I don't need anyone's validation. All that matters to me is Yah the Elohim. Nothing you say or do about me matters. It really doesn't. So when I look at this, I've said to a couple of people, well, Iceman has this movement. We need to understand what the movement is, because he's trying to represent his brother. Then we need to find out how that movement is connected to his brother's legacy, to make sure his brother's legacy is defined in the movement. Then get the community to embrace it and support and go along with it. From that, other leaders will rise up from the community, and they will be able to help create and do things through his brother. This is literally how kingdoms and nations exist today. Like, you know what the difference between a kingdom and a nation and communities? Nothing. There's still some form of system, arc, and of leadership, or whatever you want to call it. Still structured. Having it just in the whim of the community is why it's what it is right now, and will just remain this way. So if it doesn't come out that way, it's not going to happen at all. And that's not me hating on the community. That's not me saying, oh, you know, you're pushing for 9. I'm saying it how I see it. That's how I see it. And I know I'm right, because 2024 ain't nothing gonna happen. You'll probably get one guy who comes out of nowhere and says, let's prove Triforce wrong and let's gather together and do this in the spirit of Etika. And then you just proven me right. One guy came and did it. See? One guy came, set up something, and then the whole community followed in and pushed. That's exactly what I'm just saying. But the community is not going to go, hey guys, let's all do this with a no name on it, no person. It's just the entire, it's not possible, because you need communication. Who do you talk to finalize and set and say, go? The community says that to itself? How? It doesn't. Someone has to come and take a leadership position. Now, you can disagree with me and say, I don't think it's 9. I think it should be James. I don't think it should be James. I think it should be C&D. I don't think it should be C&D. I think it should be Triforce. I don't think it should be Triforce. I think it should be Ka or whatever. It doesn't matter. Someone has to be the leader. And until a leader is found, then going back to the question you asked me, in a word, no.
But no currently. Not
of course, it's no. Of course, it's no.
I just wanted to reinstate that.
Subject to change. If someone comes and steps up and be a leader, then yeah, of course it'll change. But currently, right now, no, because there's no leader.
No, I agree with this entirety of like what you're saying. I just have 2 points I wanted to say. One, you know, being my opinion, and then one I just wanted to put out there. I think when people see like 9 say, hey, I've never seen him in a stream, I've never heard him being uttered out of Etika's mouth, I don't believe that is in itself in genuine. You most likely do disagree with me on this faucet, but I believe it's not just from a form of like, you know, ignorance or anything of that nature. I believe it's generally because, you know, people, like a lot of people have only, you know, watched Etika through a screen, so people don't fully understand, or may not fully understand, that, you know, not everybody talks about people in their life all the time. So I don't think it's necessarily like a point of, you know, them just doing it to, you know, have, you know, like a second's devilish itinerary or things of that nature. That's how I view it. And
but see, I think there is a devilish itinerary going on. See, that's the funny thing. Like, the JoyConBoyz community is toxic. It's always, there are entities in the JoyConBoyz community that has always sought for the stagnant movement of the JoyConBoyz scene.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, because you could see that even in like, yeah, you could see that in Etika's last streams.
You could see that when Etika was alive, before his last streams. There are discords Etika cannot enter in.
Oh shit. Oh fuck. Okay, I'm gonna.
Okay, so it should be better now.
Okay, yeah, it's good. Okay, we can just continue where we left off. I don't think it's like a community. I think it's just like that with the viewpoint of, you know, I've never, you know, heard Etika talk about 9. I'm not saying anything about, you know, people with devilish intent in a separate, you know, that's just how I view the viewpoint. And one thing I just want to be said about 9, I mean, as all of you know, James and him have had, you know, differences. I haven't, we've had like one interaction which I wasn't, you know, entirely favorable of, but I'm not, you know, I don't necessarily have any hatred to him or anything of that nature. I just wanted to be said that I'm aware of these things, and I think that a discussion definitely needs to be had, because I don't. It needs to. Yeah, it needs to, because I don't agree with everything he's done. I mean, I honestly, but that's a whole different discussion that I don't necessarily.
No, nobody's gonna ever agree with what anyone has done at all. But that's the point you're making. A discussion needs to happen, and which goes back to my original point. Until a discussion happens, until a leader is formed, until a council then supports that leader, nothing is gonna get done. You'll have on and off projects here and there. That's it. It'll be like 2020, 2021, 2022. Same thing in 2023. It's just the way it is. It's not a personal thing where like we're trying to like make it sound like the community isn't anything, but like the community, you need a leader. You know what a leader's job is? To direct. The community needs a direction. Since Etika passed, there's no direction. If the British Empire does not crown a king or queen, then the British Empire will have no direction. I'm like, the British Empire is in trouble regardless because of the nonsense that's going on the other side of the world between Ukraine and Russia, but that's a whole different topic. But the point is, they're going to bring someone, an heir to the throne, because they have to keep somebody there. And when you know how people go, oh, we have a democracy or whatever, monarchies will always still exist, down to its core position. You will always have a king, you will always have a queen. Whether you want to call them presidents and first ladies, or presidents and vice presidents, or whatever is it that you want to make up. They will always be. The JoyConBoyz community needs a president. Etika was its president's passed, and since then, there's been no elections. Yeah, it's just been a democratic republic running itself, which is why you don't see it go anywhere. So it's much like America. It's a democratic republic. In fact, it's going down.
Okay, so with an idea of a figurehead, right? I think that how do I phrase this? The idea definitely makes sense, but I think a lot of people had an issue with with you. You believe that 9 is, you know, the rightful like a rightful figurehead to
only because he's blood. That's it.
Yeah.
Like in turn, I'm on both. I have to weigh two things. One, when I look for someone as and I want to say this in a polite way because I don't want people to misconstrue it. Let me compare 9 to the JoyConBoyz community. The JoyConBoyz community celebrate Etika's life every day, privately. I've been to a couple of their sponsored discords, and some of their non-sponsored discords. They don't really talk about Etika like that. In fact, I tried to talk about Etika in one discord, and I got trolled for it. Crazy. This was a sponsored discord, by the way. 9 celebrates his brother every time he comes on. Some people are like, because he's trying to chase clout. We're all on the internet for some type of attention and clout. That's why you're on the internet. This interview is clout. Me sitting here is clout. You sitting here interviewing me, clout. The internet. It's how it is. So kind of oxymoronic to even say that. Point is that he comes on, he does his 9, he reps his brother's tattoo on him, talks about it's the 1,000 something days since Etika's passing, talks about a movement. This is where I kind of disagree with him. What is the movement? Define it so we can understand. But the point is, an effort's being made daily. All of his uploads, all about Etika and him being 9. In fact, it's a tandem. It's like Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. You can't even mention one without the other. That's all he uploads, constantly, every day. Now, nobody else is going to do that because we have other things to do in our lives, which makes my point about why he's the heir to the throne. Because that is his life. Etika is his life. Now, if you wonder, well, what about his life? Well, it looks like he's made his life about his passing brother. And he wants to continue his legacy. That alone, in its objective point of view, is worthy enough to say, all right, so we pass the title to you. Because unless you're going to say, well, I'll make Etika about my life and JoyConBoyz about my life. I'll do the marketing, the advertising, the promotion, the community building, the projects that I'm just going to dedicate my life solely to that. And I'm a better person than 9. That's the only person that can argue against 9. Who does that? In the entire JoyConBoyz community globally. Who does that? No one. Thus, by default, then, I'm objectively looking at it like, well, then that would make 9 the leader. For better or for worse.
Okay, but I think the intent is like very important with that. I'm not saying
Intent?
anything when I say this.
Time out. Intent?
Okay, like look at it this way.
Whoa. I don't mean to cut you. I apologize.
No, you're fine.
The intent is to make Etika's legacy live on, blow up the JoyConBoyz, and get as much clout for the JoyConBoyz brand, all associated to it, and all that makes it happen.
Okay.
That's the only intent. That's what it has been before he created it, when he created it, and it should be after he created it.
But Mr. Shark, just allow me to elaborate real quick. So when I say this, right, a lot of people don't think that 9 has the proper intent. And when I say this, I don't mean like with him perpetuating his legacy. I mean with him because like let me take this example for instance, like him talking about getting a chain, you know, for like a 16-karat chain for Etika. A lot of people didn't see that as something that, in the grand scheme of things, helped in perpetuating his legacy. Him, like, there was a point in time where he would even go into Etika's like posts on Instagram and leave posts that gave off of a vibe, you know. And I know that in a sense it does tell back to his brother at the end of the day, but a lot of people had this viewpoint, which, you know, I'm not gonna say it's necessarily rightfully so, but I definitely understand, of him only solely doing this with an ulterior motive of getting money and getting clout. I think
let's pause that there. So you made that point, right? And so here's my question to that. So what is the things everybody else going to be doing? Let's move 9 to the side, and another figurehead comes up. What do you think let me phrase this back differently. There's no altruism in this. The intent is for clout. JoyConBoyz is literally clout. It is a community made up of hype and clout. Whoever takes the helm is gonna get hype and clout. It doesn't make a difference if it's 9 or not. He doesn't have an intent. That's what will happen, whether he has that intent or not, and anyone else who takes it. So this comes down to a lot of people who gives a fuck what they think. Like, for instance, those people who are listening to me now who doesn't think 9 should be, they don't care what I think. So, well, I think he has an ulterior motive. And, well, that's why he shouldn't be it. Then there will be no JoyConBoyz leader. What do you mean? Because anyone who becomes a leader, that's what's going to happen. Clout, hype, and all this other, and all the foolishness that comes with the JoyConBoyz. That's what Etika did. When it was JoyConBoyz, it was clout and hype. That's what it was. So what are people trying to stop him from doing? That's what, you know why they think that? Because that's what it is. They just don't want 9 to have it. So that's their personal opinion. They would rather anyone else but 9. So I'm like, is that the reason why? Then your intent is just, you just don't want his brother to have it. But his blood running through his veins goes over your opinion. That's not Triforce being subjective. That's just being objective. Who puts in the most work to talk about Etika? 9. Good or bad? Doesn't make a difference. He's on it 24/7. Every day. A day. In his failed projects and in the ones that succeed. He's still doing it. He out here. I think it's like day 1100 something. Man has a Chronicles. That's crazy. Well, no, that's not crazy because it's his brother, so that would make sense. You know, that would just make sense. That would be crazy if a fan was doing that and it's like, yo, what's your relation to Etika? Yo, man, I used to be on the streams, JoyConBoyz forever. Then, you know what we'd call that person? A fanatic. Because it's like, you have nothing tied to that man and you're acting like that. But now people are questioning 9, but he has something tied to him. That's his blood brother. Half, quarter, pint, liter, gallon, it doesn't matter. It's Etika's mother's blood or father's blood or whoever's blood, semen, it doesn't matter. It's running through his veins and not any of ours. That alone tips the scales and breaks everything. Nobody's opinion matters. The only time opinion matters is if he takes the helm and he runs a community into the garbage. Then everyone can say, you're destroying your brother's legacy. We're going to out you. I'll co-sign that. I'm like, yeah, you're running your brother's legacy into the garbage. So, you got to go. You either shape up or you got to go. But you got to at least give the man a chance to take the helm. People are literally giving their opinion and the man hasn't even taken the helm yet. No. This is called building a narrative now. So someone goes, I think he has an ulterior motive. Do you have proof of that? No, but like the way he's doing it is for clout. So this is your opinion. And now you're trying to impose your opinion or inject your opinion to create a narrative to the community to support your opinion, because this is what it is. It's an opinion. You have no fact to this to justify why you shouldn't take the helm. That's like, you know what that's like? That's like, James shouldn't take the helm. He's racist. Really? Where's your facts? Oh, that's right. Now it's just an opinion.
Okay, but with this viewpoint about, how 9 has gone about things so far. Oh, do you need a sec?
1 second. 1 second. All right, go on.
Okay, it's like a collective of multiple things that have transpired since 9 even dated back to its first video. It's not just about, building a narrative. Because I'm not going to say, okay, because completely, I have no idea if there are, people out there who have legit the sole intent of watching 9 crash and burn. But it's because people have tried, yeah, I'm just not putting a label on it. But I just want to say that the community as, like, a whole, generally speaking, have tried to see where he would go. But the thing is...
Really? Can you source that consensus?
Well, okay, here, you can even go back to his first video. Way back, the comments date back way to even when this video, the day, like, it went up. People fucked with him. People still do. It's just about how he's gone, like, how his actions have, like, okay, him falsely accusing James of being racist. Him stating things that he would deliver on still hasn't. Benefit of the doubt in some areas, but it's like when these things add up, it creates a narrative of its own in a sense. People may have their opinions, which can form narratives, but there is a general one that you don't even need to get like the average off the street and get that from him. You can just
here's an example. Here's an example, and I'm glad you said that because you're painting one side of the picture. There is another side of a picture that after watching 9. Knowing the JoyConBoyz community and watching what's the gentleman's name you just mentioned? James, yeah, I was gonna say Jerry. Sorry. James. Some people think that James is trying to steal 9's right to the throne and that he's racist. Some people think that. What this comes down to is this. It's everybody's opinion. And everyone's allowed to have their opinion. Whether you're for James, I made this statement already. It doesn't make a difference what your opinion is for who should be or what or whatever the case may be. The man is his brother. This is the funny part. We're taking a fact and we're trying to marginalize a fact to multiple narratives and opinion. Like people's narratives and opinion for or against outweighs the fact that he's his brother. Me, I objectively look like none of this matters. He's his brother. The brother has to take the seat and he has to fuck up. When he fucks up, then you have, he did this, which is hurting the scene globally. He's got to go. Then now this, the narrative, outweighs that. But until that happens, which I see not happening too much, you have a whole bunch of people on this side for 9, a whole bunch of people on this side not for 9. It's not going to happen. So no leader will come to terms. Even if the community propped up a leader, the 9 community with Etika is going to say, that's crazy. They just completely disenfranchise his brother. Like, can you imagine this? Does any one of us know how Etika feels about his brother? Can you imagine Etika in his grave going, He's looking at the community he built and is like, yo, they're literally rejecting my brother. Has anyone considered that? Are we honoring his legacy? You know how you honor his legacy? Yo, that's his brother. And off the strength of Etika, B, you got it. You got this one shot. That's normally what would happen in a normal society. Are you his brother? Or me personally, I don't like you because you said this, you called him a racist, you're into that, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But let's see what you got. They would at least give him the benefit of the doubt and say, take the throne. That's normally what happened. But Triforce believes that for reasons I just won't mention, I know exactly why the community is rejecting him. Well, I shouldn't say that. Let me rephrase that. I know why portions of the community is rejecting him, because there are portions that are for him. I'm for him. I'm for everyone doing what Etika had. Let Etika at the top and you have a supporting cast around him. But I've also heard people like, even if he changes, I'm not willing to support him, even as a supporting cast. I'm like, oh, so this is personal then. This is not about the community. So you don't like him and you're not going to support him, even if it benefits the community. Then you're not for the JoyConBoyz. You're for you. The same thing works on the opposite side now. This doesn't give 9. He's not free from it. Same thing for him. He has to be like, all right, look, I may not like you for whatever reason because I think you're racist or whatever, but off the strength of my brother, I'm willing to work with y'all. Goes both ways. Gotta go both ways.
Okay, I think that's like a good consensus to end that like section. If you're comfortable doing so with that note.
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
done.
Okay, I think that's a fair. I think in any conflict, civil discourse needs to be had from both sides. So I agree with this. I agree with this. I think for both sides to put any differences aside for a greater common good. I mean, just a general greater good. I fuck with that. So that's a fair way to put that. And this is like my 4th time being on this channel, so I'm very new. But for I understand I'm new, so I don't have any like really ground. But I just encourage that personally. So yeah, thank you for that part of the discussion.
No problem.
I think we got like a lot of good questions out of the way, but before we end this, because I'm not sure if any other topics like want to come up, I just want to ask so people can get a better insight into your life and what you're doing.
Okay. I founded my own esports team during the second renaissance of esports. Esports goes all the way back to Walter Day, or Walter Day's Twin Galaxies, 1981. I started my esports team in the late 90s, going on, actually, I'll just call it the turn of the century. I've been focused on my team, Empire Arcadia. As an esports team, we're the #1 winning team in the world. We have won more video game championships and world titles than any other team on planet Earth. I'm tired of that. And due to other things, I'm getting older now. So I'm focusing more on gaming in general, and content creation behind that, and the entertainment aspect behind it. We still do esports. Shout outs to KDZ, who got 4th at Summer Jam in Melty Blood. And big shout outs to what's the name? Rogue Yoshi for taking 1st place at his Fantasy Strike Evo. Big shout outs to Sanford. Shout outs to Jerron. Shout outs to all the people in EMP who's still out there representing. Shout outs to Sule out in Africa, Silverbirds here in Jamaica. Just want to give a shout outs to the guys that are still out there competing and placing and winning in competitions. But right now I'm focusing on the Valkyries because there's an inequality in gaming as a whole, from its entertainment sector to this content creation sector to this competitive sector. And that's this thing. Dudes have a problem with women. Homosexuals support women. transgenders support women. I would say normal men support women, but within the heterosexual group of men, there's a lot of guys that don't like women and they don't support them. And everything they do is to oppress women to the level of that they're just eye candy or for their pleasure. They can only do but so much because the man controls the infrastructure, states so. Far worse for our black women. I'm like, this is a problem with, throughout the entire women gender, but black women have it like the worst. They're literally at the bottom. So for me, I've been focusing on the Valkyries of Arcadia and trying to get their content out there and promoting their acceptance to their sexuality, their beauty, their attractiveness, their creativity, and what they can bring to the table in the content creation space. Which a lot of people want to argue and fight against. What can they bring to the table other than their TNA? How you know that's all they have to the table? Is that all you're watching? So you see how that works, right? So
Yo, I'm sorry, that must be annoying. It's all good though.
you saw that right there? You should leave that in the stream, just so people know. That's what happens when you live in Jamaica in a commercial area. But any event, guys don't want to give girls a fair shake. Period. People are gonna like, no, that's not true, Triforce. I'm gonna curse for the. I probably cursed earlier, but I need to express this part. Fuck you guys. Guys in YouTube, guys in Twitch, guys on social media, TikTok, Instagram, all of you sexists. I'm a feminist in the original point, not that FBI feminist movement nonsense. I think women should be given a fair shot like everybody else because they are people. Men rig everything so women can't get a fair shot. They control all the money, they control all the resources, they own all the jobs, they own everything. And they always try to bribe women for their own personal gain, sexually, to get anything done. This happens in Twitch the most. I 100% agree with Etika. Twitch is a bunch of bitch niggas. Period. I said that. Fuck you. I don't use your platform anymore. I don't even like you motherfuckers anymore. Period. Fuck Twitch. I just had to say that.
Yeah, I want to throw it in there too, but
Trovo for the win. I'm with the Chinese on this. At least the Chinese are just as racist, but at least they give you a fair shot. So fuck you, Twitch. Anyway, so I'm a big proponent of supporting women. I'm tired of. I really tried my best to try to justify it and look at it evenly and be fair, but like men are just dastardly pieces of shit. This shit is just bad. Like you can't. Thank God. Thank y'all. I'm not a woman. If I was, I'd be a serial killer. I'd be murdering men. And why does Triforce say this? Because I am a man and I've been in you guys' circles and I know me as a man. I know the thoughts I've had as a man and I watch the actions men have. We're some evil pieces of shit. I'm older now, and because I have retrospect and I can look within myself and call myself out for the things that I think and see and watch other people do, I can be like, I can become a better man. I know this. So when I say this about men, I know this as a fact. I watch guys slide in the girl's DM. I feel sorry for all of you women. It's literally nothing but prostitution in the DMs of almost 90% of the female content creators. You always have one asshole who has money and he's trying to bribe them with money for sex. Sex, nudity, or any types of random crazy shit. All types of just whatever. That girl who got the 7-day ban on Twitch, she probably blew some dude off in Twitch just to keep the 7-day ban or whatever. People, oh my God, how could Triforce say that? Then justify why she got caught getting banned on Twitch, and she got a 7-day suspension. Whereas Empress Nile was permanently banned for something called suspension evasion.
She was banned?
We was like, permanent. She's permanent banned. And we was like, wait, what? How's that bait? We looked up suspension evasion. When you have someone in your stream that's banned by Twitch, but they're in your stream, your Twitch identifies it as you helping the person evade their ban by coming on your stream. So they ban you for it. So we were like, but how do we know if the person is banned or not? You have to go and check everyone. We were like, wait, what? This is stupid. So let's say some popular person, you're a new streamer, you're just coming into the Twitch space to stream. You don't know anybody. Some mediocre person who's on Twitch with 5,000 subscribers got banned off of Twitch. They meet you, you meet them. Hey, what's going on? Hi. Hey, I stream for Twitch and stuff like that. Oh, you do? The person does not tell you they're banned. Oh, word? Oh, you want to collaborate? Yeah, you're going to collaborate. Someone reports it. Ban, suspension evasion. Boom, boom, you're banned. Even if you appeal and say, I didn't know, doesn't matter. You're permanently banned. So wait, permanently banned, girl gets banged on Twitch, released after 7 days.
No, there's definitely a disconnect with Twitch. You can see it from, it's been like a multiple like episodic thing where something like every month, every other month.
Like you're saying, if it was a one and off done thing, you could be like, it's an isolated situation. But Twitch there are too many testimonies of Twitch's inconsistencies, racism, and favoritism to allow this to just be a one-off. Look at Corey Kenshin on YouTube. It's too many. Black people just don't say nothing about it. But see, me, I don't care. They're all racist. You just have the least of the racists. The least of the racists is YouTube. Trovo is new, so they got to prove their racism first, whether they're racist or not. And so far, doesn't look like Trovo is racist. They got everybody in there. But Twitch, definitely. Fuck Twitch.
Yeah, you don't even need to look at an isolated incident, in which it's not. Let me not say like it's like one like.
It's definitely not an isolated situation.
Like, this has been going on for years, so it's like
for years.
It's just
yeah.
Honestly, I don't even like Twitch because it's like they try to push like smaller creators out there, but it's
to end on this. All we have to say is this: what's the mantra?
No Twitch niggas. It's that simple. It's that simple.
Yeah. That's it. That's it.
Okay, let's start that out. Okay, well, thank you for your time. Is there anything you would like to discuss that or put forward that hasn't been touched on?
All I ask you guys to do in the JoyConBoyz community and in the Nintendo community throughout the ethos, I apologize for my cursing, sorry. Make sure no one under the age of 18 is watching this.
Oh, I'm even worse, so you should.
Leave you guys' opinion. Whether you guys disagree with me or not, leave your opinions in the comment.
Oh, I just want to throw this in there.
Discourse.
Do not, just please be civil. There's no need for cursing anybody out.
No. Be reckless. Say what you say. Express. Get it off your chest. Get it off your chest. I'm telling you, Aries, it has to be this way. Every discourse starts with passion and emotion. After people get the anger out in their words, then it becomes civil. Then you can get to the bottom of it. If you try to suppress people's expressions, you'll never get a discourse. Let them say what they want to say, how they want to say it. Let it rock. If it's too crazy and wild, you block it or you delete it. That's it. That's why these social media platforms create those tools. Censorship is never good on any level. Let it rock.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I agree. All right, well, whatever y'all want to say about this, I just want to add, this format is very new. This is the first one, so excuse me for any, difficulties, any format issues, just work in progress, but hopefully this is one of many more, and just, many more actions to be taken to help boost this community. So thank you for your time. Thank you for the JoyConBoyz for y'all watching. Yeah, thank you for coming on. Really, I can't give you a dap or hug or none of that, but real.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. So I guess we could just dip out. I can end it. I'll just fade out or whatever. I like fades. So
Okay.
yeah, thank
That's
you.
fair.
See you. Talk to you soon. Hopefully. Take care.
We'll do. Take care.